It's just before last light. We're taking a few moments to get a GPS fix. We're setting up for our sound experiment. Tonight we're going to be sound blasting out our Thylacine sounds into this valley. Classic tiger country, so let's hope we get some callbacks. Well, let's just leave this gear here for a moment, Chris, and go and set up the first of the trail cameras. Try not to squeal like a girl when you step in a puddle again this time.
Oh, I squealed like a girl, hey?
Okay, fortunately we've moved to this first camera site. Chris avoided stepping in any puddles, so we didn't hear any shrieks that scared all of the native wildlife away. So this is the same site that we used in our previous night sound experiment. So we've come back because these are on major game trails that we're covering. So we'll put them back in the same locations. Okay, the first camera's right to go. Let's move off to the next site now. See this clearly broken stick here or tree limb, Chris? That's a telltale sign that there's a Sasquatch, or the Australian version, the Yowie, telling us that we need to stay on this side, on the far side of this particular structure. So I think we better take its advice. So we found a location that's very close to where we had our second camera last night. It's still on the same major game trail, so we'll just remove a little bit of the undergrowth here, the light grasses, so it doesn't trigger the camera inadvertently, and we'll put it on this tree, and we should have coverage as any animal moves towards our sound blast. I'll just remove some of the sticks so that if the wind moves, it doesn't inadvertently trigger the camera system here.
Can you give us a few bars of Seven Thumbs Dara's version of "Oops, I did it again"?
Oops, I did it again. One of the problems about working in this particular environment is it's very hard to maintain your dexterity when it is as cold as it is. So it makes setting these cameras up that little bit harder. But if we're going to find a thylacine, you've got to be where the thylacines are at. And typically, that's not in downtown Sydney, Melbourne or Brisbane, but out in the wilds of Tasmania. So we're in a place that is renowned for tiger sightings, lots of bounties taken in this area, lots of sound calls, yaps heard in the night, so this is where we need to be. Right, Chris, this camera's set up. We're right to move back to the sound blast location. This second camera is in a little bit of an out-of-the-way place, so it may be difficult for us to navigate our way back here. Again, it looks different during the day than it does at night, so I've just marked the location in my GPS so we can come straight back here when it's time to collect the camera and analyse the results tomorrow. Thankfully we've got the GPS, so it's allowed us to get back straight from the camera location, straight to the sound blasting location at night without any difficulty at all.
After that shameless product placement plug, can you tell us what our actual plan is?
Okay, the actual plan tonight is to set up some of the new gear that we have, in particular the Ridgeline hide that we have. We're going to do a manual play of the Thylacine sounds that we've used in some of our other videos, the ones that we've taken from original documentaries and analysed on a number of occasions. We're going to blast them out in the valley, and then we're going to wait and listen for any callback. So we'll probably do that for about an hour or so, and then we're going to let the device stay on loop. There's some silent space in there. We're going to leave it and then leave the area, and hopefully that will mean that anything that's intrigued by the sound will move back in towards where the sound is coming and therefore walk past our cameras. So we've been going for about half an hour blasting the sound out from the iPhone and the dock. We've discovered that there's a few technical issues. The volume that we can generate with this little dock just isn't good enough. A Thylacine that maybe was in about 50 metres might be able to hear it and then potentially respond. The other thing is that both of the devices seem to have a power save feature, so when we pump white noise through it to separate the barks or the cough sounds, it then switches itself off. So we need to go back to the drawing board and probably design something that's purpose designed for this particular function, up the volume up, and then get a way to fool the devices from not going into their power saving mode. Perhaps an external battery that's much bigger than the current battery system that we have. What we're going to do instead is we've got a H2N zoom, which we've been using to record the sounds of the actual valley, to listen for any sound that comes back towards us. We're going to set that up in our hide and just let it record. It's got about 42 hours of recording time, so we're going to set that up so that it's secure, that it's out of the elements, and just listen to the sounds that are in the valley.
The first stage of this redesign plan will be to set up this Ridgeline single person dome hide. It's based around a camp chair. It's got a spring steel system that snaps open and supports the buffalo cam hide cover. It's designed to sort of be used by photographers and cinematographers to film wildlife. It appears to be quite waterproof, so we're going to sit our Zoom HN2 on the seat, hopefully to record the sounds of the surrounding bush over this wind. So without the weight of someone sitting in it to hold it down, just going to have to jerry-rig this to keep it from springing back. The other option would be just to run back to camp and get some tent pegs, which is quite a distance away, so I'm not a big fan of that idea. That seems to work quite nicely. So I'll just grab my Zoom and I'll set it up on the seat. So this is the new Zoom. It's got awesome functionality, from being used as a USB podcast mic through to recording live bands, you name it, this will do it. I've got it connected to a little Kodak tripod, and we'll lock it into place. It's got a couple of different settings. I've currently got it on 2-channel because we were using it to sort of attach an external pro quality microphone to. For this experiment, I'll swing it round so that it's using all 4 of its inbuilt microphones. I'll turn the microphone gain up to 10, so that means it's at its most sensitive. I've also set it to auto gain, so again it's sort of constantly adjusting the volume to what's going on around it. You can see it's working here. This is the record switch. I'll turn that on in a moment, and I might just cover it in a plastic bag once it's in there, in case our dome tent isn't 100% waterproof. Follow me and I'll set it up, Waz.
So, do we get any sponsorship from Woolworths for providing this material for?
No.
To the tent, Batman.
Okay, so check recording. Oh, I might just get my little muffer thing. Okay, so just check record, red light on, recording, wind muff on, which in this scenario is going to keep this plastic bag away from the mic. Simple as that. It's got 45 hours of recording time on a fresh set of AA batteries and the 2GB micro SD card that's included. So realistically we only need 8 to 10, so it's the best we can do on a short-term plan. Just record the sounds of the night, and hopefully we hear something interesting. Once we get this SD card out of this Zoom tomorrow morning, we'll throw it into the laptop, put it across a sound editing software like Audacity or WavePad or something like that, and hopefully over the course of the 18-hour file we should be able to see some interesting spikes, which will be our sounds of wildlife or some EVPs or something interesting.
What's an EVP, Chris?
You wouldn't want to know. Ask. I'll give you my phone and you can ring Zach Baggins.
We're coming back to claim the cameras that we placed last night as part of our sound experiment. We placed out the distress caller, and just in the periphery of our hearing we can hear that the caller is still active, so that's awesome. So it's been going all night. It'll be great to reclaim the cameras and see what evidence we've got.
As was said, the caller's gone for about 18 hours, which is pretty awesome. Absolutely belted down with rain and blew a gale last night, so it's obviously a fairly hardy, robust piece of electronics. The second camera we place is just here, so we might pick that up and then we'll follow the sound and we'll pick up the caller and camera 1.
Given we set these cameras up in the dark, I think we've done pretty well in terms of placing them on relevant game trails. We brought a different route in towards these cameras this morning, basically following game trails, and in daytime the whole area looks completely different. But looking at it during the day, this is set up right on a major game trail. We followed the sound in exactly as a predator would, so good camera placement.
What'd you find?
It says 1 minute worth of video, so I think it's probably going to be a setup or conclusion video. I've just quickly reviewed the contents of the card. It looks like there's only one trigger, so most likely it's a setup shot, but on the positive it means there's been no false positives with all of the wind blowing in the area last night. We'll have to take it back to our camp to actually analyse it on the laptop to see what we've got. I'll just turn this off. As you can see, we've found it and it looks like it's been knocked over. This area, whilst it's been windy all night and again this morning, it's in a relatively secluded area in terms of the wind. So there's every possibility that an animal's come in to investigate the distress sounds and actually knock this over. There's lots of fresh scat in this immediate sort of vicinity, so it'll be interesting to see whether the camera that covers this game trail approach to the caller has captured anything.
This is the first camera we set up, and it's a couple of metres away from the game caller, so it's going to be interesting to see what's come down this game trail past this camera to investigate the caller and the distress sounds that were being played on that caller. it appears we've got 2 triggers, and maybe that's a setup and a breakdown. But it'll be interesting to see. We'll take this back to our camp, we'll put it on the laptop, and we'll investigate what actually has triggered this. I'll just turn it off so I'm not wasting batteries.
Okay, so the card from camera 2.
Camera 2. I'm a professional, it's fine. This might be the camera that you actually set to photograph, not film.
Yes, photograph. I was kind of hoping that you would have forgotten that, Chris.
No.
Kind of like how you forgot my birthday last year and didn't get a card.
Yes.
Yeah.
I forgot my own birthday. Does that count? What are you, 29 now?
29, yeah.
29. Remember when we went into the nondescript pub? And I mentioned to the guy that you had seen active duty, and he went, "What, Nam? What, that makes you about 62? I fell about on the floor.
Yeah, and I was strangely not laughing. Yeah.
I was, and everyone else was.
Yes. Image number 1, Chris.
Who needs enemies when you got friends like me?
Correct.
Yeah. Crotch shot of Warren Darragh.
That's a million YouTube hits right there.
Yeah. Move on. Move on quickly.
It's on my feet.
My eyes, move on.
Okay, so now we go into photos. Sky shot.
I love the juxtaposition of the branches versus the trees. It's
very
a
natural.
simile for life, really.
Very, very natural shot.
Why did you angle the camera up?
I didn't.
Right.
Photo?
Paranormal or tear down?
Yeah, probably tear down. I like the temperature indication. I think it's dreaming if it was 42 degrees Fahrenheit out there. So
let's say 0.6 degrees.
I think it's probably right.
Yeah, that's... That's about right.
Oh, actually I thought it was colder than that.
For image 3, either Zach Baggins is giving us a call or that was your knee.
Yeah. That is my knee in colour this time.
Image 5. Nothing.
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 No ape-like creature climbing the nearby trees.
No, Bill was in WA.
Bill was in WA.
So, bottom line, nothing.
Nothing in.
First thing that springs to mind, maybe the sound was actually driving stuff off, not attracting things.
Quite possible. I think the other thing that that we saw is that particular environment, and we did some driving investigation, was there weren't the amount of prey species that we otherwise would have thought.
No.
Lots of wombats, and we've seen evidence of that in other videos. There was plenty of scatter around though around those cameras, so that was interesting.
Just low density of prey.
Yeah.
The caller was fantastic. Love to get a programmable one.
Yeah.
So that would rule out all of our problems. Interesting.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is we've obviously got to analyse the audio that we took.
18 hours.
18 hours of audio. We were using the puppy crying, which historically has been known to attract thylacines from the old-timer reports.
Yeah.
But I think...
Bottom line is that nothing's come in.
Nothing's come in, yeah.
So at best, in 18 hours of audio, interdispersed between the caller, I'm looking for peaks of coughing or yipping.
Yeah.
That's going to be a long, long day.
Yeah, and look, I think that we need to do some more work on
For
the
sure.
sounds, particularly in the projection and upping the power.
Yep.
We've now got some Class A recording equipment. Class A skills of the people sitting behind it, of course.
Is Class C.
Well,
Yeah.
But I think we do need to up the power
Yep.
in terms of being able to get these calls out into that valley area.
We'll get there. We'll get there. We've got the gear. We've just got to hone it and sort of develop the skills to get a recording.
Yeah, so definitely we gave the area enough opportunity for something to hear those distressed puppy cries to come in to investigate.
And nothing.
Yeah.
The other thing is it was windy as hell.
Yeah.
So, interesting. Oh, on that, we did get some anomalies waving there.
We did, yeah.
So,
yeah, and it did appear too that when we collected the sound callers, though it had been knocked over, and we probably didn't think it was from wind. So, but of course, the camera was only taking one avenue of approach to the caller, so it could have come from the other 359 degrees. So
exactly. So, more work.
More work required.
More work required, but cool.
Cool. Okay, with that, booyah.
Booyah.
Wrong. Thank you for playing. Have a nice day. Next contestant, please.